wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man, how the heck are you? It's Monday, November 19th. November 19th?
Hello.
November 1st. You know what I was going to say? We're 18 days away from opening day at Park City Mountain Resort. It is November 1st, 2021. And we're giving away an Xbox. All you have to do is hit subscribe, take a picture that you're subscribed, and then tag us on Twitter, Instagram, or the Cock Talk ticker, The Monty Show, MONTY, The Monty Show.
Wow.
Or SLC Supercars if you just want to see pictures of cars, Jake's cars. Just ask him. You don't even have to ask. Just go to Jake's Twitter and you'll see like 8,000 pictures of his stupid car. Anyways, why do you have a shelf on your trunk? Like, do you store stuff on that shit?
Yeah, it's for storage space.
It's like a bookshelf?
Yeah.
Anyway, you can see pictures of Jake's WRX, which is fine.
Okay.
I mean,
cool.
it
All
is
right.
what it is.
Good
We
talk.
already have a filtered comment from
okay. What does it say?
BYU fan CJ said something to somebody that got him filtered this morning.
Guess what? Today Monday, motherfucker.
That's right. Take it easy. It's Monday. We only have 3 shows this week, by the way. Don't forget we'll be off Thursday and Friday. A week from now, our trip to Mammoth will be over.
Why do you keep saying that? Stop.
It'll be over.
Stop, dude.
It'll be done. So, there's been a significant injury over the weekend that we have to talk about. It was not good. Casa De Monty was not a happy place.
That's HIPAA?
Yeah, it is HIPAA, but we're going to talk about it anyways. We have to talk about trick-or-treating decorum because I don't know about you MFers, but when you're out here in Daybreak, I mean, I had no idea so many people lived in Daybreak and drove panel vans around the neighborhood to drop their kids off. So we'll talk about that coming up. Like, who does that? But obviously, we have to start with San Diego State football.
Right, yeah.
The comments are all over it already.
Already.
Yeah. Rectangle with a number 3. WR with a number 3. Rectangle says, how about them Aztecs? Eric C. says, Jaron Hall. Brylark says, morning, boys. Cowboys still getting it done. Okay. Nye Guy says, morning, gents.
Hello.
The Blind Swordsman says, morning, boys. Great outing by BYU and the Jazz. Meh by my Broncos. Jeremy Bolton says, sup, fellas.
What's up?
Let's rip Jaron Hall for a while because Jeremy Bolton's here.
Okay. So Jaron Hall sucked and is a terrible quarterback.
How do you explain what happened to BYU? And I don't know that there really is a way to explain it. I mean, frankly, I don't know that anybody could have predicted 66 points coming from this offense. But I think very clearly we saw something out of BYU that we've been waiting for just about a month now. And, my feeling is that my opinion has significantly changed on Jaron Hall. I still think he's an average thrower of the football. But it is very clear that the play calling in this offense has got to improve and become more consistent because I saw a guy that effectively threw the football underneath, that effectively used his legs to create opportunities for other players, including Tyler Allgeier. I just don't understand where this play calling has been, Jake.
Yeah, so I agree with you that I still think that Jaron is an average thrower of the football, but I think that what we learned out of this Virginia game is that he can do enough to win you games. He can do enough to win you games through the air, and so the next, if we just keep kind of moving up or down the chart here, like the next person that I would ask questions about, is Aaron Roderick, right? The guy calling all the plays, and I think that. What really stood out to me is you started this game off, really, really hot, right? You get 3 scores, everything's awesome. Oh my God, let's go and tweet the Monty Show and tell them how stupid they are about Jaron Hall. And then all of a sudden, what happened? Then all of a sudden, your offense couldn't do anything. They came back, and all of a sudden, you have this crazy ball game happening. And so what was really impressive to me is that BYU was able to stay calm, and they were able to continue to move the ball down the field and do things. So to me, I just didn't understand why, when Virginia was in the midst of that comeback, why the play calling for BYU offensively got conservative. All of a sudden, you went from going way down the field and being aggressive and playing hurry up to not playing hurry up to everything's underneath, and we're just going to kind of, be methodical again. That's what I don't understand. And that, to me, after watching this game, is really the core of the offensive issues, because when you allow Jaren to throw the football down the field and you put him in a position to make a play, he typically is going to make that play. Now, it's no secret that Virginia's secondary isn't good. It's no secret that this Virginia defense is not exactly, something to write home about. But at the end of the day, you can only play who's in front of you. So when I look at the rest of the schedule, I would like them to continue to push the ball down the field. Be aggressive. What's the worst that's going to happen if you're being aggressive? He's going to throw an interception. That's part of the game. So that, to me, is what really stood out. Just the inconsistency in the play calling, which has clearly led to issues for the offense.
So you're 100% on play calling.
Yes.
I think there's a couple of things at play here. Well, Virginia sucks defensively.
Right.
Let's just be honest. Virginia was not great. But I also think that Jaren Hall showed us some things that we had not seen from him yet. I mean, the underneath passing is a weapon that we have been talking about on this show for 3 straight weeks, for 2 straight losses, for a team that so desperately needed to get a wide variety of weapons involved. You finally saw that. And I don't believe now that Jaren Hall just didn't want to do that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think there is a play calling issue at BYU. It is remarkably inconsistent. I think that the best point you make there is the go fast, then go super slow thing.
Yeah.
Like, why did you get away from what was working?
Who thought that was a good idea to go? Because you were going fast and you were dominating them. And then they score. And now we want to go slow?
And you dominated right off the get on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Like, BYU was winning the line of scrimmage right away. Why did you stop running the football? That's the other thing. Like, and I don't know if this is a Kalani being a defensive guy, so he just stays out of the offense. Like, I don't know. But when you look at how little running of the football happened consistently in the first half, and then the second half, all you did was run the football, it felt like.
Yeah.
And you're in this shootout. You're back and forth. I just don't understand the inconsistent play calling. And listen, I think scoring 66 points is incredible. That's great. It's something that, again, I don't think anybody could have predicted this. But you should have never been in that situation. You should have never been in a place where you needed 50 points to win this football game. And when you get out to a 21-0 lead and then you just hand it back to them, that's play calling offensively. Like, the second quarter was one of the most poorly executed coaching quarters that I have seen in the Kalani Sitake era. Like, I don't know what we were looking at. I don't know what the BYU coaching staff was thinking in the second quarter. I really don't. All of the throwing, all of the just, like, poor decision making.
Yeah.
Control the clock, run the football. Tyler Allgeier had time and space, and you stopped giving him the football. Like, that's a coaching issue. That is not, to me, an issue with Jaren. And as much as I still believe that Jaren Hall is an average thrower of the football, he was really effective because he was running the ball. Like, by design, keeping the football, using his legs, creating space, creating a doubt in the linebackers' minds. Where did that go to in the second quarter? Like, I just don't understand that.
Yeah, and I think it really limits them. I think, now what's the narrative in my head, what I'm thinking about is, okay, let's look back at a couple of these losses. Let's look at Baylor, for example. Baylor is a much better defensive team, right? They've got a lot more size. They've got a lot more ability, a lot more talent in that defense. However, think of it this way. What could have been if they were consistently going down the field, if they were consistently, pushing the envelope, if they were consistently putting pressure on the defense? Now, let's not forget that in that game, they took 3 to 5 big shots, and Jaren missed most of them because he just underthrew everything. So there's that give and take that we play, but I just can't help but feel that if this play calling had been consistent the way, we saw at times against Virginia, that they would have won a couple of different games. So I guess, to me, I wish Jaren was better. I wish he was a more polished thrower of the football. But candy's and nuts, right? Like, we can wish and hope for things, but the fact is that's not going to change right now. So I would just hope that the rest of the way here with Jaren, you continue to be aggressive, because I think the biggest thing is when you're calling plays that are aggressive and going down the field and really pushing the defense and putting pressure on them. Jaren does well in those situations, and then that helps Tyler, because let's also give Tyler Allgeier some credit here. The guy clearly is an NFL running back. The guy clearly should, if he played it anywhere else besides BYU, if he was in the SEC doing this, he'd be in the Heisman conversation. So, the correct play calling also helps your running back, which then also helps everybody else. So I just wish that there was a consistent game plan week in and week out to find this balance we saw against Virginia. Because I think against a good defense, you put up 66 against Virginia. Against a good defense, that's probably 35, right? Against a defense that's capable and making plays, that's probably like 35 points.
Yeah, I think it is one of those things where you just look at some of the numbers out of this game. I mean, the box score is almost meaningless in a game like this. But it is shocking to me that you see how capable this offense is when you actually take the reins off of it.
Yeah.
Just relax and let the guys play football. And I think sometimes we overthink offense. And I think, obviously I understand why everybody's screaming for Allgeier to be in the Heisman conversation. He's not. And he doesn't belong in the conversation, frankly. But he is a hell of a running back. And I think he is a great prospect that is underutilized.
Yeah.
Because of the way the offense is structured, because of the way you've called plays. And I think it's a really interesting question. I think very clearly in the Boise game, Jaren Hall was not healthy. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I wonder how much healthier he was against Baylor after that 56-yard run.
But we could still ask questions, though, right? So, when you're Aaron Roderick and you're controlling this offense, you get to choose who's playing, right? You get to choose who's going to start this week. Obviously, you got to, consult with Kalani, but, they make the decision together. So, to me, hello, Siri's all upset.
Siri is just all up in my new Apple Watch 7 series.
So, to me, I'm like, hey, against these teams where Jaren was hurt.
It's gold.
Yeah, it's gold, yeah.
My 7 series Apple Watch is gold.
Okay, do you feel good?
I'm done pimping. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. All right. So, anyway, the point I was just making is that
it's very large.
To me, yeah, large and in charge, I know. To me, the questions need to be around, Aaron Roderick and not so much Jaren Hall at this point. That's my point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think obviously you have some issues defensively that you're going to have to take care of, because I think that you cannot continue. I don't know. What's the right way to say this? I just don't think this team cannot continue to play from behind.
Bro, you gave a 50.
I mean, you can't play from behind. It is. And again, the headline of this show today is BYU shocks the college football world. And I think that's exactly what happened. It is stunning to me that 66-49 is not a score that anybody could have predicted.
No.
Over 700 yards of offense is not something anybody could have predicted. I look at the fact that defensively you're struggling, and we can sit here and we can talk about turnovers, but you got 2 interceptions in this game.
Yep.
We can sit here and talk about the fact that, hey, you know what? You can't get off the field on 4th down defensively. Virginia, again, continued a trend of teams doing well. Virginia was, 2 of 3 on 4th down, I think. 4 of 10. 40% on 3rd downs, not ideal. So you look at some of the numbers on this BYU defense, and you're continuing to question: is it a talent thing? Is it a schematic thing? My feeling is it's not scheme. I think it's talent. You have a lot of injuries on that side of the football. I don't think it's scheme, but you can look at the fact that BYU caused 3 turnovers. That's pretty good. We'll take that every day of the week. You will take that. I think when you look at time of possession, you ran the football really well. But the things that really stand out to you is that I don't know. I continue not to know what the game plan is week in and week out offensively. Like, this is a team that should run the football, and I mean 30 carries every single week for Tyler Allgeier. And we just don't get that. And you get 29 for 266 and 5 scores, and oh my God, it's a miracle we won the game.
Right.
But how can that be your thinking when if Tyler Allgeier runs for 150, 175 yards, you have a really good chance of winning the game.
Every game.
Because you're going to control the clock, you're going to control time of possession, yet all of a sudden you want to get pass happy and you want to run like trickery and run the football. That's all that this team requires. When you have a quarterback that is a dual threat and who is a better, in my opinion, more effective runner than passer, run the football. When you have a guy that has the ability to throw underneath, throw the ball underneath. And I'm hoping this was some kind of revelation, but that you actually threw the ball, 5 to 7 yards down the field and you did it effectively really speaks volumes. The fact that, but again, I will say, where's Isaac Rex? Only 2 catches. Now, it's awesome that Puka Nacua, I thought the Nacua brothers had absolutely an impact beyond belief in this game for 11 catches, 214 yards, and 2 scores combined. I mean, you're doing the job with those guys. But I also think they did a great job of spreading the football around to Hill and Pau and, Rex with the 2. Like, I still maintain that there's a lot more left to get out of this offense.
Yeah.
And I wonder what it's going to take to get there.
Yeah, it's going to take play calling that puts your guys in a better position. That's the thing. Like, I think, the offensive line, really both lines, but because we're talking offense, the offensive line played really well. And I think it all starts there, as it always does in football. You always hear that, right? Like, hey, if your offensive line is playing well, that's just going to have a trickle-down effect, and you're going to be better offensively. But I really felt like in this game, BYU's offensive line played really well, and that's why you saw Tyler have a big day. That's why you saw Jaron having protection and able to complete a lot of passes. And so to me, I think a lot of what happened and contributed to the 66 points in this game was, hey, it's, UVA is a little bit lesser of an opponent, right? So that plays into it. But I think that BYU just did a great job of executing, and everybody was all excited when they came out to that early lead. But I think, the other narrative coming out of this game is we always talk about how BYU likes to play from in front. And when they scored those 3 touchdowns, I was like, okay, this feels good. We're taking control, but it's early. So can you hold this team down the whole game? So I don't know. I just think that if the play calling can stay consistent, they're going to be fine. But it's when they get into this constantly trying to, throw screens and these 2-yard out routes.
You can't give up 35 points in a quarter and expect to win.
Yeah.
You just, there's no way. You can't give up. What did they have at the half? 42?
Yeah.
You can't give up 42 points in the first half and expect to win. And again, I think it's all well and good that you scored, it was 42-38 at the half. Well, that's all well and good. But 9 out of 10 weeks, you're not going to win that game.
And most of their possessions were like under 2 minutes in this game, like for both sides. Yeah. Like, that's not what traditional football is.
I'm telling you now that you cannot continue. You cannot play a game like this and be, it's fun. It was a fun game to watch. It was fun to see the guys out there throwing the football all over the place. And this is not what you want from BYU football. You would love to win games 35-28.
Yeah.
You don't want to be winning games 66-49, because I'd also remind you they ran for 200 yards on your defense again. And, what this tells you is, hey, you were way better in the second half defensively. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah.
But there's no celebration to be had defensively in this game.
Yeah, and I think it's a great question. Like, as a BYU fan, how should you feel coming out of this game? Obviously you won the game. You had, obviously an offensive display. But obviously, on the flip side of that, there are some things to be concerned about. Like you were just saying, the defense, the way certain things played out. So, I feel like if you're a BYU fan, you should be thrilled with how the weekend went. But at the same time, you should be cognizant of some of the things that this team is still struggling with, and that's going to be mostly on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I would agree. BYU fan CJ, I think apparently made some crack about San Diego State. Jeremy Bolton says, "Sup, fellas."
What's up?
He says, Jaron. And again, I'm telling you, this is a good win. This feels good. It's Bronco. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I would slow your roll a little bit because I can't be the only one that's wondering where this play calling was.
Yeah.
I cannot be. BYU fan CJ says, I said San Diego State isn't ranked and laughed at Eric C. Well, you said something more than that if YouTube is filtering your comment. Greg Hawkins says, morning to you, Monty Jake, go Utes. Yeah, what a weekend for the Utes. We'll talk about them in a minute. The Nye guy says, Jake drives the car for the ladies.
Okay.
Ladies don't like his car. Who's the better running back, Allgeier or Kenneth Walker? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. Which line is playing better?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So this is inevitably what happens. Is Tyler Allgeier will have a big game, and then somebody else will bring up, well, what about this? I don't think there's any doubt that Tyler Allgeier is one of the top 3 running backs in college football.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I'm looking for his stats, but of course I can't pull that. But I mean, Kenneth Walker had a great weekend. Michigan State doing what they did Michigan dirty. Like, and if Jim Harbaugh doesn't get fired after this weekend, I don't know when he will.
Yeah.
But Kenneth Walker had a hell of a game against Michigan. 23 carries, 197 yards, and 5 scores. Fantastic. Tyler Allgeier is a hell of a running back.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts in sports. Kobe or Jordan? LeBron or Kobe? LeBron or Jordan? Like, we don't need to do it. They're both great running backs. I think if you want to look at consistent performances, I don't know that anybody has put up the numbers in big games that Tyler Allgeier has.
Yeah, he seems to always come up clutch.
Yeah, their P5 wins. By the way, I also can't be the only one that's noticed that BYU, I wonder how much BYU plays down to their opponent.
That happens.
There was a clear lack of intensity against Boise State. Right? But if you look at Virginia, Washington State, ASU, Utah, and Arizona, that's 5 P5 wins against 1 loss in Baylor when you were never in the game.
Right.
So I kind of wonder, like, you better come out and just run Idaho State and Georgia Southern off the field and then go to SC on, what is that, the 27th. You
got to beat SC, man.
You better.
You have to.
You got to boat race them at home. Go to the Coliseum and boat race USC because they're not very good. We saw that again. They're not very good. If you have a season where you get 6 P5 wins, that would be remarkable.
Yes.
That would be remarkable. But anyway, my point is, I think when you look at Tyler Allgeier, I just think you have to. It's very hard to compare college football players. The only position you can do that at is quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think running backs are. I mean, if anybody's got better numbers at 1,100 yards and 16 scores, and an average of 6 yards a carry, I mean,
there's a lot that goes into playing running back, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just. I mean, that's why you only have the quarterback comparisons, because at running back, you've got your offensive line in play, you've got, how much the defense is actually playing the run, and then play calling, and so I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. So I just think that Tyler Allgeier's a great running back. I don't think there doesn't need to be a need to compare him to a bunch of other people and stuff. I mean, he's a great running back.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to go to the league. There's no doubt.
I mean, he's got 7 touchdowns in his last 2 games.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be fine. Anyway, here nor there. My point is, I think they're both good backs. I just hate comparing college kids. Jeremy Bolton says, hey, there will be no Jaron slander after Saturday.
Well,
some of the throws and decisions he made, wowee. I don't know that I saw wow throws out of Jaron Hall. I mean, did he make good throws? He did. But see, this is the other thing that happens. Oh my God, they scored 66 points. Jaren Hall's amazing. Jaren Hall's an average thrower of the quarterback. My feelings on that have not changed even a little bit.
Average thrower of the football.
Average thrower of the football, excuse me. And my feelings on that have not changed a little bit. I mean, they dominated the second half because they controlled the clock and Tyler Allgeier controlled the game. That's why they dominated the second half. Did Jaren play well? He did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did. But he's an average thrower of the football. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just shine Jaren Hall into, like, Ty Detmer or reincarnate. You know, like, I'm not doing that.
The score doesn't – them scoring that many points doesn't mean that Jaren Hall is somehow, you know, the Jesus Christ of football. You know what I mean? Like that's just not the case. I mean, I think, you know, there's a line. So everyone's going to say, oh, well, they put up 66. You guys are just haters. And that's not true. I mean, what have we said here? We've said repeatedly, Jaren played well. He did. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He played really well. Give the guy credit. However, you know, there are still a bunch of throws I can point to where I'm like, hey, that probably is completed if the ball is placed here or placed there or basically just placed in the correct spot.
I like the back shoulder throw that everybody freaked out about. I think was the third touchdown.
Yeah, by pylon there
to Sampson. Yeah. Hey, good throw.
But notice where that ball is placed. That's classic Jaren Hall, right? That is a play where you need to underthrow your wide receiver so he can come back to it, a back shoulder throw.
And I actually don't think he's made that throw very consistently this year.
Yeah.
I think that's a step forward. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it is – my guess is that Jaren Hall is getting healthier and feeling better, and he's got more range of motion, and he feels better, and he's going to make better throws. I would expect him to rapidly improve.
Yeah.
As his health improves. But – let's not sit here and say that Jaren Hall is, you know, like Jaren Hall's an average thrower of the football. Period. There's nothing that you saw Saturday night against Virginia where you're like, wow, this kid's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. He's not your best quarterback. I still maintain if I was BYU, I'd be playing Baylor Romney. Mm-hmm. But I'm not. I'm very clearly not. And if I were BYU, I would be running the football a heck of a lot more than they are. If I were BYU, I would be playing go fast offense a heck of a lot more than they are because it covers up for a lot of the issues that you have. Hey, we can't protect the quarterback all that well. Let's play faster.
I couldn't believe that they switched. Like you were dominating early and then you just turned that off. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, what is the hesitation? Why would you not just continue to play fast and continue to tire out their defense?
And again, I will just simply say what I've said about Jaren Hall all season long. If the kid is running, he is a next level quarterback. And when you saw him run, and I wish he had run more, I will continue to say it. I wish Jaren Hall had run more. But it was nice to see him run the ball 6 times, I think 42 yards.
Yep.
And he had the touchdown. Hey, that's great.
I mean, he's clearly getting healthier. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that process is clearly taking place. I just think that if you're a BYU fan listening to the show, I don't think you should get all pissed off when we say, oh, well, he's an average thrower of the football. Because he is. Everybody will tell you that. That's not just us, like, saying – like hateful stuff about him. He is an average thrower of the football. There's no doubt about that.
Well, hateful.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not in question. However, did he play well? Yes, he did. He played really well. You know, he led them to victory. There's no doubt.
And if we're really truth telling about BYU, the meat of your schedule's over. You have 3 games left to play here. USC obviously is the big game. You've got 2 gimmies the next 2 weeks. I would think that you would see a lot more depth in the next 2 weeks, which would be great. By the time you get to USC, there should be no injury concerns. Everybody should be as close to 100% as they're going to be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've had a really successful season. You've got 1 must-win game left. You have 1 must-win game.
Yeah.
And that is USC, and that is 3 weeks away, and that's at the Coliseum.
Be healthy.
It's that simple. I mean, it is not. This is not rocket science. I think that USC game is all you have to play for at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like you have got Idaho State. What is that? I think Saturday. You have the bye week. Then it's Georgia Southern. And then on the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Bye week probably couldn't have come at a better time for them,
No, I think you'd like to have the bye week right now today. This would be awesome to be coming out of that Virginia game, going in feeling good-ish, and then having a full month to prepare your defense for USC, because you got to get better defensively. I mean, you cannot give up 200 yards on the ground. You cannot give up 49 points.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too many mental mistakes. And by the way, the tackling wasn't great either. And so that's why I say, like, it kind of makes me wonder. I mean, we're sitting here talking about these different players and different situations that are going on, and I'm just sitting here saying, what about the coaching staff? I mean, we have a big issue with play calling on the offense. I see all kinds of issues with tackling technique on the defense. I see all kinds of issues with mental mistakes on defense. Guys not being in the position they should be. Corner thinking he's got safety help when he doesn't. Like, there are just these mental mistakes that you're seeing in the game that lead to a team like Virginia getting 49 points. You
cannot give up 49. You can't. Furthermore, you can't give up 200 yards on the ground. It's never going to be good enough.
And that's a trend, too. This is not the first team to run on BYU. It's not.
No, I would agree with that. Dax Johnson says, good morning. Since Jaron balled out on Saturday, can the Jazz sign Conover for the next time they play the Bulls? They need him.
Don't get me started on the Bulls game, dude.
Defense has been riddled with injuries. They were mediocre before the injuries.
Yeah.
Don't spin it on the defense. The secondary has not – I don't care who you've put back there. The secondary is not covered at all.
Which is why I feel like it's coaching.
Could be. And the second quarter was the worst defensive effort I've seen, and that can't happen again. However, they adjusted in the second half. Sure.
Adjusted on some level, right? Like, again, I know I keep saying this. I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative here, but there's no getting away from the fact that, the second quarter was crap, but your adjustments, your change in strategy – still got your ass kicked in the second half. So, like,
you gave up plays in the second half. Virginia didn't do a good job scoring the football, but I think your biggest concern is defense. There's not even a conversation to be had. Snuka says, "Chee-hoo." Good morning, my guys. Good morning, Snuka. Sean Mirzinski says Michigan got screwed. They lost to Michigan State. You can never lose to Michigan State.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
They didn't get screwed.
I mean, at some point, dude's got to get fired.
No. They did not. No, sorry. Spencer Morgan says, don't leave out Tavion Thomas's 4 TDs. Well, let's talk about Utah a little bit. Because as usual, stud, what did I tell you?
As usual, we told you so.
What did I tell you?
And, okay.
Utah owns the South.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is.
And you know what? I keep trying to tell Ute fans this, and they just don't listen.
You ain't first, you're last.
You have everything to play for. You have absolutely everything to play for. Nothing's been lost. You lost to Oregon State. Okay, well, what part of your season ended there? None of it. None of it. You lost to San Diego State. Okay, what part of your season ended there? The loss is where your season started, right? Like Cam Rising taking the job from that coward quitter of a quarterback who walked away. That's where your season started. So to me, this win was not surprising to me.
You coward quitter of a quarterback.
I cannot stand kids who quit football teams. I have zero respect for kids that quit football teams. You can't do it. Because once you quit once, it becomes a habit. Mm-hmm. It's much easier to quit a second time. And once it's the absolute wrong message to send to your balls.
Yeah.
Because you have none. And it's just, to me, everything you want is on the other side of hard. And Charlie Brewer wasn't willing to fight through hard. And he's a coward. He quit. And I'm sorry. You quit on a football team. You quit on a football team where this football team was, and I just have no respect for you. But Tavion Thomas, again, not to tell you how right I am.
I'm the best.
Jake, what have I been saying about Tavion Thomas all year?
He's the guy. He should be the number one.
24 for 160 and 4 scores.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Now, it does not help that DTR did not play for UCLA. Well, it helped Utah. Because I thought that This defense actually played pretty well. Now, I would love more than 2 sacks. But I mean, your tackle for lossness, 6 tackles for loss is good.
Yeah.
7 pass defense, good. I look at the fact that Ethan Garbers was 27 of 44, only averaged 6 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. You only gave up 146 on the ground.
Yeah, Utah was in control. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Utah was in control of the game, controlling the pace, controlling the narrative, controlling all of it. And I think that, it was always hard for me to kind of understand how, and really moving forward, it is. I mean, if you're a Utah fan, anytime a team comes to play at Rice Eccles, especially in November, it's going to be hard to get a victory in that climate. I mean, I don't care who you are. So to me, I just felt like, they dominated USC. I felt like they were in control. I agree. DTR not playing was highly disappointing and unfortunate. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. And I think there's a whole, not for today, but a whole spin-off conversation about Chip Kelly and UCLA and where that program's going and what could have been this year for them. But once again, it's funny. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Utah's in control. They haven't lost anybody in the Pac-12 yet, and they're likely going to win South.
Okay, well that's a lie. They lost to Oregon State.
Oh, Oregon State.
Other than that, I mean,
I forgot about them.
You liar.
Yeah.
Other than that,
they're in control though. I mean,
yeah.
you beat basically everybody you should beat.
You've got 4 games left. I mean, obviously at Stanford's never an easy place,
which I really don't get. For the life of me, I don't understand why it's so hard to go to Stanford and win a football game.
Well, number one, it's a slow, plodding, methodical turf. You play on grass there. Number 2, that's always been a place where, they obviously they play better at home. Stanford's not very good. They're 3-5 on the season. I think they're 2-4 in conference.
Yeah.
You're better than Stanford is. And you have, to me, when you look at Stanford, losing to Washington tells you the caliber of football team they are. And now you have a game, what is that, Friday night, I think, at the Farm, where you got to go up there and you got to handle your business.
Is it really a Friday night game for them?
I think, let me just look and make sure.
I really don't understand that out of the Pac-12.
Yeah, it's Friday night, 8:30 on FS1.
Okay. Secondly, can I also complain about the fact that all these games start so freaking late? Bro, I'm tweeting with BYU fans at like 1:30 on Saturday night about this damn game.
I was sleeping.
Bro, like, holy crap.
Yeah, I did not stay up. When game was over, I was out.
Man.
Yeah, Utah and Stanford's Friday night at 8:30. And then obviously, I mean, the rest that you have to play for, I mean, you have some very difficult games coming up. Without question, the Oregon game's a big one.
Yeah.
Colorado seems to find a way to wreck Utah's season every year.
Is Oregon here or there?
Oregon's here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, see, I like that game a lot. I think that I'm not going to sit here and say that that's going to be some easy game or anything like that, because it's not. I mean, Oregon's a really good team, but I do think that they're beatable. So
at Stanford, at Arizona, home for Oregon, home for Colorado.
Should win 3 of the last 4, like at a minimum.
I would expect you to run the table here and finish 8-1.
Well, I hope so.
Finish 8-1. You got a 2-game lead. You got a 2-game lead in the South now, essentially because you own the tiebreaker over Arizona State, who's 3-2. You're 4-1. I would expect them to win the South. I mean, it would be a stunning upset.
Which would be a great story if they did.
Yeah, it would.
Especially
it would.
with all
And
things
if you and here's the other thing to consider. I mean, if you beat Oregon and you look at Oregon and there's a game coming up here in 2 weeks on the 13th. It's Oregon and Washington State. That's a massive football game for the North. And then if Oregon loses to Utah, Washington State obviously crazy year.
Yeah.
Rolocock being fired, all of that.
Yeah.
Washington State's not done. Washington State's got a ton to play for at 4-2 in the conference. Washington State has a ton to play for. Now, having said that, you got to find a way to beat Oregon coming out of a bye.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Because they went to Arizona State and won.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
how do you go to Oregon or how do you go to Arizona State and win 34-21?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
So that was really surprising. They were up 20-0 at one point in that game, and
They turned Arizona State over 5 times.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like you're not going to get that against Oregon. You're not turning Oregon over 5 times. You're not going to get the undisciplined football. And this is kind of what I said about Arizona State, several times this year. Like, they're an undisciplined team, whether it's penalties, whether it's, turnovers. Like, they are undisciplined.
And I'm telling you, Herm's in trouble there.
He should be.
With a recruiting scandal
He should be.
and a
What has
big
he done?
investigation.
What has he done? He hasn't done anything. He's brought negativity to the program through the recruiting scandal. They haven't won anything, and this is what I always used to say about Sean Miller down in Tucson.
It's sweaty Sean, please.
What was the point of all the cheating you did, dude? What was the point? Because you didn't win anything, and that's kind of where I'm at with her.
But Jake, it's Nico Mannion, and
it's Nico, right?
If we just have this 1 year, we'll win a championship, and
Vexes me.
Yeah, Sean, I get it, dude, but you were never gonna win a damn thing.
I think Herm's going to get whacked.
As he should.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Anyway, here nor there, Utah's in firm control of the Pac-12 South. It's over, in my opinion. Greg Hawkins says, I don't believe BYU will have a problem with USC, especially with Drake London being injured, as much as it pains me to admit that. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, fair point.
Sir Robin says, what made Jaron good on Saturday is that he turned back into a dual threat. No doubt about it. Neville93 says, good morning, Jake. Good morning, Utah. What about me?
Hello?
I'll be over here. I'll just fuck off. It's fine.
You're so fucked.
Yeah, Zach Thornton says, wowee. Okay, I'll have to hand it to you, Monty. This is awesome. Okay.
What do you mean?
I'm not sure, Zach, what's awesome, besides me and everything.
Right.
Dax Johnson says, is BYU 100% out of a New Year's 6 if they go 10-2? They are, yeah. Yes, they're done. Their New Year's 6 chances are over. I think, you're looking at the playoff coming out here, it's over. I don't see a way that
it's over.
I don't know. Zach Thornton says, I do like Go Faster. You're right. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Play more. I don't. Hello? Why did you not play more? Lynn W. says, you can ask intelligent questions. Well, maybe you actually can't. Yeah, I'm dumb. It is what it is.
Yeah, we're idiots. We don't watch Jazz games, BYU games, Utah games, badminton games,
Yeah. What Zach Thornton says, what about coaching staff? What about adjustments at half and limited to 7 points? Yeah, I mean, I think that feels good. It is what it is. Lynn W. says 700 yards of offense and you're slamming the play calling. It was combined 700 yards of offense. Dude. You guys are idiots. Yeah, we probably are. At least I can spell. He says you guys SRE idiots. Well, it is what it is. Here's the play calling issue. The play calling, Lynn W. You know what the play calling issue is that you stopped moving the football in the second quarter because you completely changed what you were doing from the first quarter when you were kicking ass. Run the football. This is the thing that kills me. I'm such an idiot, but yet you were running the football and you were road grading the Virginia defensive line and then you stopped running the football. Good idea. Good idea.
Excellent adjustment.
You gave up 35 points because you didn't control the clock. You didn't extend possessions. And they scored 35 points in the second quarter. And I'm the idiot. Their play calling in the second quarter was not good. No. They came out in a track meet and then started crawling in the second quarter for whatever reason.
I don't know what the thought process is. I really don't get it at all.
Brandon Whiteside says, what is he going to sit around for a chance to sit on the bench? Mediocre team? Pass. Utah is not a mediocre team. I don't know what mediocre team you're talking about because Utah's certainly not mediocre.
Yeah, here's the problem with what Quitter Kid did, and I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't deserve that. The problem is he quit on this team when they were in the toughest portion of the season, and admittedly, I had my doubts that this team would bounce back. I mean, you're literally talking about people dying out here, and then you want to go and quit on the program. Okay.
But the thing is, football is hard. I think if you've never played or been around the sport, you don't understand that football is physically ass kicking, but it's 2 or 3 times more difficult than that on the mental side of the game. And it's easy to give up. It's easy to quit. It's easy to walk away.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the transfer portal. I'll just put my name in the portal. Like, okay, go. Cam Rising's a better quarterback than Charlie Brewer is. And he quit when it got hard. You weren't the best quarterback. You were not producing. Fight for your job, man. Show up at practice on Monday and fight for your job. Why is that so difficult? It just, anyway, don't get me started. Spencer Morgan says your take on Brewer is way off. Can't blame the kid for wanting to preserve another year and play somewhere else.
I can actually.
But how many times are you going to transfer?
So was he preserving a year with the Baylor situation then too?
Charlie Brewer is an average football player. He is not a pro prospect. He is not somebody that, and look, I'm all for, hey, wear the pads as long as you can. Live the dream as long as you can. I'm all for that. But when you transfer to Utah, one of the most well-run programs in the country, you transfer there because you believe you have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Guess what? You quit, and all of a sudden Utah's winning. That's not an accident. Cam Rising has absolutely lit a fire under this team. I don't care about, at that point, I don't care about your eligibility. You got to be a man. You have to, you at some point have to understand who you are and where you are as a football player. And what Charlie Brewer didn't understand is he's not the best quarterback on that roster. You got beat out. And likely you got beat out in fall camp. And you still got the job, and you just weren't very good.
Yeah.
You were not Pac-12, top of Pac-12 good. You weren't. You were not. Cam Rising's a better quarterback for this team than Charlie Brewer is. Where are you going to go? Where you can just walk in.
Notice what he wants. He wants it easy.
You're not going to walk in and be a starter anywhere, and you're not good enough to beat out most quarterbacks. You're not. Anyway, it's a longer conversation than that. You know, and Spencer's going on about how, you know, hey, you really expect him to just throw away a year of football? I expect you to compete.
Yeah, dude. Here's the thing that no one's talking about. I don't expect a kid to throw away a year of football. What I expect him to do is get better. That's what I expect him to do. I expect him to say to himself, hey, I admit it. I own it. My shortcoming is I have a noodle arm. That doesn't mean I can't play football, though. That means I have to be twice as good as everybody else mentally, so I know what the defense is doing, so I can compensate for the fact that I don't have arm strength.
Correct.
But he wouldn't do that. And that's why this team lost to those damn freaking San Diego State Aztecs. It's ridiculous. They shouldn't have lost that game.
I'm telling you now that if Cam Rising had started the season, I think there's a much better chance that they at least are in position to win the BYU game. And if Cam Rising has a full fall camp and is your starting quarterback in week 1, I think they beat San Diego State.
They definitely beat San Diego State.
You know, like at some point you have to,
why are we being nice? Why can't we just say, hey, the dude quit?
Because there is a belief that you have to, you know, he threw for 400. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 484 yards. He had the worst year of his college football career, and it's not an accident. It's not. Being at Baylor is completely different than being at Utah. Utah is a football factory. You have one job. The expectations are much higher. The expectation every year at Utah is you're going to win the Pac-12 South.
Yeah.
Every single year. He wasn't good enough. Don't sugarcoat it. Look at San Diego State, 14-26, 104 yards. BYU, 15-26, 147. Weber State, 19-27, 233. He's not good enough. He was never going to be better than Cam Rising. Did I have to make this case? It's crazy. Greg Hawkins says after his endless concussions in high school and at Baylor, yeah, he should probably quit football entirely. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
about
apparently he's not done hitting his head against the wall, so,
that. Sir Robin says Rising's a sophomore. Ute fans should be thrilled about that. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
You have years left.
Calvin Johnson says it's the perfect cruel irony that in a year BYU finally beats Utah, the Utes are Rose Bowl bound, and the Cougs are headed to the Champing Bowl on December 15th. Well, no.
State,
by the way,
dude.
BYU is headed to the Big 12.
Savage state.
And they're headed to an awesome year of recruiting. I think BYU's had a phenomenal season so far. Phenomenal. You're always going to lose a game. Always. And if you end up with 6 P5 wins, if I said to you, yeah, you're going to lose 2, but you're going to beat 6 of your P5 opponents.
Take it.
You'd have taken that all day long. And by the way, you got into the Big 12 and you beat Utah and you're dominating the state of Utah in recruiting. No, we're going to pass on that. We need to go undefeated. Stop. Brandon Whiteside says Utah picked him up, so his pass didn't seem to affect Utah's decision going after Brewer and starting him. Well, he supposedly won the job.
Allegedly.
He doesn't have a bad past. I mean, he just wasn't a good quarterback at Utah.
Don't
and he quit.
It.
Yeah, he quit.
Like
you can never quit.
There's no getting around it, dude.
There's nothing wrong with getting beaten out. Hear me clearly on this. There's nothing wrong with getting beaten out. Nothing. It happens. It's sports. Every day you're gonna get beat. There's always somebody bigger and better right around the corner. It's why we lift all those weights, right? Because there's always somebody better. You can never quit, period. Not in life, not in sports, not in the womb. It doesn't fucking matter. You can never quit. Because when you quit, you just said, you know what, I give up. I'm not willing to make the effort anymore to do what I said I was going to do.
I'm okay not giving my best.
It just is as simple as he quit. I have no respect for people that quit. None. If you want to grind your ass off and, hey, Cam Rising got in the game and he performed and
he was ready.
Utah won the Pac-12 South and went to the Rose Bowl. Hey, you know what? You know what he should have done? You know what Charlie Brewer should have done? He should have fought for his job. He should have been a quality backup because you always need 2. And when the season was over, he should have shook Rising's hand and tipped his cap and walked away.
By the way, let's not even get into the fact that he didn't have his teammates back in this whole thing. Because by all reports, including Britton Covey's report of Cam Rising, Cam was nothing but the best teammate when he wasn't the starter. Cam was, in it. Cam was everything you could want him to be as a backup quarterback.
Because he's mature. He understands it. I don't mean to be redundant. I know I keep saying this. Football is not baseball. Football is not basketball. Football is different. Football is hard. Football is... Man, you stand under a squat rack and you're trying to put up 500 pounds. You got a decision to make. Yeah. Am I going to let this weight crush me or am I going to explode up and finish this lift? And you have that decision every day in practice. Every day. By the way, you also are responsible for academic work sometimes. Like, you got to sleep, you got to eat, you got to pound like a porn star, you got to lift weights, you got to watch film, you got to go to school. You got to call your mom. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you know this, football hurts as well. So most of the time you're rehabbing if you're a number 1.
Yeah.
You're rehabbing. Football is hard. It's not basketball or baseball. It ain't soccer. It's not badminton. Football is hard. Yeah. And when you quit in life. Ask Taysom Hill. I think Taysom Hill, not because he went to BYU, but Taysom Hill is the perfect example of a kid who essentially broke legs, was constantly injured. He was told, how many people said, he sucks. He sucks.
Taters can't get it done.
And Taysom Hill is one of the most important players for the New Orleans Saints. Well, now he's injured. But he's one of the most important players on that offense. And he's not supposed to be in the NFL. He's supposed to be working on Wall Street.
Yes.
And he's supposed to have 11 kids.
But he stayed the course.
And how many times did I have to hear my former radio co-host say he'll never be Jimmer? Well, no, because Jimmer played basketball and he played football. He sucks and he can't throw. Well, it turns out he can throw. And by the way, if he sucks, I'll take the money he's getting paid by the Saints and I'll suck too.
Seriously.
Because the guy's had a pretty dang good NFL career.
Seriously.
Football's hard. And when you quit, you deserve everything you get when you quit. Anyway, okay, I'm done.
Woo! Okay, all right.
Hey, kids, don't quit. Oh, man. And now we got, like, spammer people, like, putting porn in here.
Here we go.
I'm Shiva, the god of death.
You know, and then
Why-
I have to go and report this guy.
Dude, can I just say a quick point on that? Why are there so many freaking bots out these days, man?
It's incredible.
Like,
dude.
it is obsessive.
It is. It's incredible.
YouTube comments, Twitter, Instagram, Meta. Oh, I'm sorry, Facebook. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, Spencer says nobody's saying Brewer was better than Rising. Not sure who you're arguing with, Monty. I just think you're better. You're off base for the quitting hate. He quit.
How,
Did-
you need to
Spencer,
explain that. You
Spencer,
need to
did he
explain
quit or did he not quit?
that. Yeah, like
Would you tell your kid to do what Charlie Brewer did?
twice. Don't forget it.
No.
He did it twice.
No, you wouldn't. Wait, football's hard. Talk about something football's hard. Talk about something you guys know. We don't know football. Spitters and quitters. Exactly, Jackson.
Exactly.
Graham. Jeremy Bolton says, Taysom. Angry Astley says, hey there, a bot in the chat spamming links. Yeah, I know. I already blocked them.
I want it.
We blocked them already. So it's fine. It's fine. You know, it's fine.
Okay.
You know. Anyway, there you go. I can't control the bot spamming you links. It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
Let's talk Utah Jazz.
Let's piss some more people off.
Okay, wait. Spencer says, not sure how you expect Brewer to throw away a year and sit behind a guy who we all can see is far better. Brewer probably can see it too. Because that's football.
Where's he gonna go?
He made a decision. You win some, you lose some. He could play at a lower level. Yeah, okay, cool. Go play at Waxahachie State. I don't give a go. I don't care. You're terrible. Tyler Allgeier is the number one running in rushing yards. Yeah, he's great.
Do
He's a
you
good
think
running
that
back.
Charlie Brewer should go play at Bishop Sycamore?
I think Charlie Brewer should worry about his post-football career because I'm done. I'll never say his name on this show again. He will forever just be the quitter. I'm over it.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't. Oh, wow. Come on, Jeff Clausen. Be better than this. Rumor has it Brewer had a national letter or national NIL. Image and likeness. Deal with Nicorette. It helped him quit.
Well played.
I like that, Jeff. That was very well done. Boyd Lake says, Jared Hall convinced me he can pass to keep BYU in a shootout. Great game. He did.
Yeah.
He did. The play calling is the problem at BYU. He should play for the Helen Keller Deaf and Blind School. He'd be a starter there. That kid who quit on Utah. Utah Jazz basketball, because I want to make sure we stay on the clock today. Utah Jazz. BYU broke Brewer. Jaron broke Brewer. Jeremy, please, it's way too early to smoke crack.
Yeah. Come on.
Like, I mean, it's only 7:38. You know.
Anyway.
Brewer needs to go play Chuck and man up and play football.
Yeah.
Go buy Chuck and okay. Listen, the Utah Jazz. Now, speaking of things that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, we don't watch Jazz games, just so everybody knows.
Well, when their season starts, I think we'll start watching games, right?
Yeah, when does their season start? Isn't it in like January?
Yeah, they don't play. They're not.
They don't play right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. When's Karl Malone? Anyway. He's still their starting small forward, right? Anyway, I'll stop. Interesting road trip for the Jazz. Because it went exactly like we told you it would. They lost in Chicago, and they beat a depleted Milwaukee Buck team. But I think what we're seeing is some patterns forming about the Utah Jazz. Just give me your oratoriums.
Yeah.
Or oral machinations and stuff about the Utah Jazz.
Here's how Jazz games go lately. These first like 5 or 6. How many ever games they've had so far?
Yep.
They open the game, running offense, moving the ball. You know, you're doing what Quinn wants you to be doing. Then things start to get more difficult because the defense adjusts. You know, they're pressuring you. They're pushing out more, and then it turns into the let's set a pick for Donovan and let Donovan shoot a 3 show, and then it turns into the Donovan and everybody else show. And so, you know, I like the contributions they're getting from the guys they've added to this roster, but my main point here is that if you really get to the core of this team, it does not feel like a lot has changed. It doesn't feel like, based on, the games that they've played so far, it doesn't feel like this is largely that different of a team. Think about it. What are we talking about right now with this Jazz team? Well, they're 5-1. They're the best team in the league. Donovan's making shots. They're shooting the three. But isn't that all the same stuff we talked about last year? Isn't that the exact same combo?
I think it is, but I think the thing that's emerging is this team's not shooting nearly as many threes. The Utah Jazz are not shooting nearly as many threes as they did last year. And it seems like the other thing that was very clear Saturday night in Chicago is this is not the same team without Mike Conley.
Yeah.
And I think it continues to show you how important it is that Mike Conley stay healthy and that Mike Conley's available for this team in their biggest moments. Because I think it's very interesting that you have a guy in Joe Ingles playing a career high in minutes Saturday night, and you lost. And you know what? You had opportunities in that game, and you needed a big three, and it wouldn't go down for you. And I think that, to me, is one of the things that we probably undervalue in Mike Conley is that he is an absolutely elite three-point shooter.
Yeah.
And you see him come back last night against Milwaukee, and he hits a couple of big threes early that just put Milwaukee on their heels. And, now you look at the fact that the Jazz are 5-1, and I think you're starting to learn about the rotation on this team. I think you're starting to see that there's real value in Hassan Whiteside playing heavy minutes, especially against mobile big men. I think Rudy Gobert is off to such a great start offensively this year because the Jazz are shooting a poor percentage when it comes to the three ball.
But wait, they started off 7 of 8 last night.
And then all that went away. It's pretty, the thing that scares you a little bit about this team is that, I look at a guy like Jordan Clarkson, he's going to be super cold and then he's going to be super hot for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't worry about Jordan Clarkson finding his three ball. What I worry about is, their 3-point percentage. You don't have a guy right now. You don't have a outside of Mike Conley again. I look at Bojan Bogdanovic, he's shooting 30% from three. Jordan Clarkson, 24. Don, 31. Royce O'Neal should never shoot another three ever.
Well, hold on. You got to call him by his right name, though, right? Buckets O'Neal.
Craig Bowler, Jack.
Craig, please.
Anyway. But I think you're seeing that you're only shooting 32.5% from three. Okay, you're off to a bit of a slow start, but one of the interesting trends to watch is, when you start shooting better from three, because this team's going to make more threes.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Yep.
They're an elite three-point shooting bunch.
Yep.
When they start making threes, what happens to Rudy Gobert's offense? Because I think when you look at his game, obviously he shoots 70-something% from the floor because he's a guy that's a dunk and layup guy.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what his putbacks look like. Because when I look at his numbers, he's pulling down 4 offensive rebounds a game. That's a lot of offensive rebounds. He's averaging, 17 boards a game. That's fantastic. I mean, they're getting really good production out of this team. The question is, what happens when the three ball starts going in?
Yeah, and so I think it's this balance that this team has to find, because of the roster they have. And I totally agree. I think when this team is shooting the ball really well, you're going to see Rudy's point totals go down because there's just not as much opportunity for him. And the other thing, while we're talking about patterns that I've noticed, and I really started to notice this on the road, on this particular road trip. You don't see it so much at home, but on the road you really see it a lot. I feel like where Rudy sets good picks, is open on the roll, and Donovan won't give him the ball. Just straight up will not give him the ball. And there were times where he was frustrated with that. And I got to say, I was frustrated with that. I mean, I know I've had my fair share of negative critique on Rudy Gobert. One thing he's really good at is rolling to the basket and finishing. Right? Dunking, laying it in. That's where he really excels. And so to me, you're playing a Bulls team that doesn't really have any size outside of Vucevic, and you still lose that game. You're playing a Bucks team that really doesn't have a ton of size outside of Giannis, and that was kind of a grinder until you put it away. So I don't know. I just think that, yes, the three ball is going to go in at a higher percentage. I really am not worried about that right now.
Not at all.
But I am worried about this dynamic with Rudy. I think Rudy's playing really well, but you can't just ignore him in the pick and roll. That's not going to work. Like, that's just not – you can't do that. That doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that worries you so much is that this is a really good team against the three, and they're still getting – you're seeing quite a bit of penetration that happens in pretty much in most games. And I think when you look at where the Jazz are, and I think when you look at, an evolution or a maturation out of this team, I still think that this is not the roster that wins you a championship. And I think one of the more interesting parts about the Utah Jazz right now is their inconsistency on offense. Like you got to figure out who you are. Now, you're a week and a half into the season, but let's see what pattern emerges for them offensively. Like I think you got to get back to over 43s a game, and I would really like to see this team get out and play more transition basketball. Because I think a lot of their struggle comes in the half court, and I think they are much better when they're running. If they can get, a lot more of that, I think you're good. Because I look at the Bulls game, and I don't think the Bulls game was a fluke. I think that A, without Mike Conley, and B, I look at the fact that they shot 28%, 29% from three.
Yeah, that
really concerns you.
I think right now, like, I'm looking at their schedule here, and, your next 7 to 10 games are really nice. You really should win a lot of these games. But, one thing like this week, as an example, you've got Sacramento tomorrow at home. Then Thursday, you're on the road. You're going east
on that trip
to Atlanta, then Miami, and then Orlando. And so I look at this grouping here of these 4 games this week, and I'm like, all right, you're going to beat Sacramento, but that Atlanta game is the one where I'm like, interesting. You're on the road. You're in a different time zone. Like, that's going to be a tougher game.
Mobile big.
Yeah, mobile big time star and Trae Young. Like, so these are the games where I'm like, okay, because honestly, when I look at their schedule, I don't look at it from hey, are they going to win 50 games? They're definitely going to win 50 games.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that. I mean, that's just not a conversation. But when I look at their schedule, I'm like, all right, so Atlanta's the next hard one. Then after that, you've got like 5 or 6 that you're going to win. And then you've got Philly. Okay, after Philly, what do we got? At the end of November, you got Portland. You've got this run of Portland, Boston, and then Philly again. That's going to be tough. So to me, I just look at this team, and I'm like, you should expect them to win every single night. And then when they play those teams that we all know and love that are consistent playoff contenders, let's see if they're making the 3. Because that, truthfully, if you're watching a Jazz game, that's all you need to look for. If they're making the 3, they're going to win the game. If they're not, they're going to lose the game. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, and Atlanta is such a much better team at home.
Yeah.
I mean, this year they have just not been good.
Like, John Collins is going to terrorize the Jazz. I'm just telling you now. Like, that pick and roll with Trae Young is going to be incredibly difficult for the Jazz to defend. Because
and I wonder how much Clint Capella we see in that game. I mean, because I'm curious about that. I actually think they're going to play smaller because they're one of the teams that has that ability to flex and play a little bit smaller. I mean, because Rudy Gobert is a better big than Clint Capella.
No doubt.
So his effectiveness would be limited. John Collins at the 5 brings them a different dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
He is a much more aggressive player, and obviously,
but he's also smaller. He's a smaller big, but he's much more offensively capable.
But I think when you see what this league is turning into, the Bulls don't have a valuable big. Milwaukee doesn't have without Brook Lopez, Milwaukee doesn't have a big. I mean, you're playing Giannis at the 5. You're seeing a league, and I know I continue to say this, and everybody tells me I'm stupid and I don't know the NBA. Okay, this is a league of 4 or 5 combos. This is a league where you can play Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis on the floor at the same time and have it be highly effective.
Yeah,
that's why there was so much talk about the Lakers playing LeBron at the 4 and AD at the 5, because AD is a prototypical center, and if you look at the centers that give Rudy trouble, it's inside out guys. And I think Atlanta, if you look at their ability, and I could be wrong about this, but they like playing John Collins and Danilo Gallinari together.
They do. Yeah.
So I mean, they have
the
that.
John Collins, Trae Young connection is the one you need to look for when the Jazz are playing that game, because John can jump with anybody, and I think that the other thing too, while we're talking trends, I'm also noticing people are not nearly as scared of Rudy as they once were. Not that that's a critique of Rudy. I just think that people are figuring out how to play against him a little more, and so you don't see the intimidation factor being as high. So we'll see. My point just is like if you have downtime and you're looking at the Jazz schedule, a lot of these teams, they're just going to torch,
Yeah.
Like a lot of these teams, they're just going to destroy. And that
No
should
doubt.
be expected. And so, I don't know, man. I'm looking, I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm like, I'm in December, and I really don't see more than 15 losses.
And I think moving forward, I mean, some things are going to change. I think you're going to see them shoot more threes, which will lead to fewer turnovers, because I mean, they have just been giving the opposition so many free possessions.
Yeah.
So I think those
20
numbers
against the Bulls.
Yeah, and it killed you. I think you're going to see, because the Bulls are not a great team. The Bulls are not playing nearly as well as they did last week this week. And I think you're seeing that the Jazz are not good enough to give 12, 15, 20 extra possessions to the opponent and still win games.
The good teams will make you pay for that.
Yes.
I mean, that's just that simple.
And a team that's like, I mean, but again, with the Bulls, there's a couple of things that really stand out to you there. I mean, DeMar DeRozan ate that ass up. Like, I mean, him in his mid-range game, like, I mean, that's the thing that should really, if you are a Utah Jazz fan, when they play tomorrow night, watch the mid-range game, because you should. Now, Sacramento's a team in Salt Lake City you should dismantle.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. They're fast and they can shoot, and they play in the mid-range. And that's you're gonna see. But even in the Milwaukee game, you win 107-95. You only turn the ball over 12 times. So now, again, I don't really care who played and who didn't. You can only play the team that's in front of you.
Yeah, but it matters.
Nah, they handled Milwaukee. They were never in jeopardy of losing that game, right? So I think it's unfortunate that guys like Middleton didn't play, but you can only play the team that's in front of you. So they didn't turn the ball over. But then I look at the way they lost to the Bulls the other night, and they lost to the Bulls because they gave the Bulls chance after chance after chance.
And they just didn't. It didn't feel like the Jazz were mentally in that game. It
really didn't.
There was a lot of times where I was like, "Why would you choose that shot, Don? Why would you like it?" Just that wasn't a
9 of 27 for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, just not good shot selection. Not knocking it
11
down.
of 38 from 3.
It's not good enough.
This team has to shoot the 3 to win.
Yeah.
I always look at 15 3-pointers in a game. If they can make more than 15 3-pointers, they're going to win just about every game.
Yeah.
Because they'll be a handful. By the way, the other guy that really stands out to me again, I'm still waiting for Bojan Bogdanović to get going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of seeing him playing with his shoulder and his wrist on the sideline.
I'm still waiting for Bojan Bogdanović to get going. Because Joe Ingles has had big nights. Don is not going. He's not a great October player. I was looking at his numbers last night. Okay, cool. Donovan Mitchell's your best player, one of the best players on the planet. Bojan Bogdanović he's got to get going.
Yeah, and I think again you have this whole conversation of the trade deadline looming over you, right? Like which of these guys, as this season wears on, is going to be the guy that gets moved? Because somebody's getting moved. I mean, it's going to happen. If they stand pat, I will be really surprised.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I don't know how you go about this. I really don't. It is one of those things where I think you have to figure out how you go about working this rotation. Like, I'm kind of concerned about Jared Butler. I'm really surprised how much he struggled offensively.
Yeah.
Defensively, the kid competes, but I'm really concerned about how, like, they don't have a guy that's just red hot.
Yeah,
they don't have a guy that's carrying
Clarkson.
the ball club.
Usually that's Clarkson, but he hasn't been that. And
he has been terrible.
See, and that's the flip side of it. Hey, your guys haven't been red hot, but you're still 5-1. And so I just think that, listen, you got to let the season wear on, but I'm just sitting here telling you right now, the truth about the Jazz is they're going to win most nights. They are. They're that good. And I think that it really comes down to the playoffs. Are they healthy for the playoffs?
But isn't this the same team that it was last year at this point?
Like largely based on the style of play that I see on the floor, it is largely the same team. Right now, you've got a team that opens the game running offense, and then by midway through the second quarter, it's Donovan and everybody else, because that's just where this team defaults to. And it is a bit frustrating at times because you've got a guy like Boyan sitting in the corner waiting, and I would say he's one of the most reliable shooters you have. So at the end of the day, I just think that this team will figure it out. Donovan will get hot. You're right. He's not an October player. Things will get figured out. But right now, the turnovers have to stop. That's something that can end tomorrow. And they need to just execute better offensively.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think right now what I would say is I'd feel good if I'm a Jazz fan because you're not playing you're playing half speed.
Yeah.
You're not playing your best basketball by a long stretch, and you're still winning games. Now, again, your schedule's been pretty soft. We'll see what happens. And once Rudy Gay gets into this rotation, let's see what level that takes his team to.
Yep.
But the trade deadline is huge. By the way, the Lakers are still pretty good.
Yep. Lakers are good.
That's one of the things I think you're starting to see is like the trends that are emerging early in the season.
Well, you kind of figured. I mean, we all knew the Lakers are going to figure it out at some point.
They're starting to figure it out.
I mean, it was just a matter of time, you know.
And I think one of the more interesting things is Russ's meltdown the other night may have really helped that team.
Mm-hmm.
Because last night I thought they played a very different style of basketball. I think the Denver Nuggets. I think your boy Steph Curry.
Yeah.
That team's starting to figure it out. Like that team.
And then Clay's going to be back the end of November.
Yeah. Some of these Western Conference teams that have had easy starts.
Yep.
We're going to figure out, like how is this helping them? Is an easy schedule helping or hurting? Because I look at the LA Clippers who have won one time in 5 games.
Yeah, and so that's the magic of the NBA. I mean, you have not that I'm taking anything away from the Jazz, but I think we can all agree you've played a lot of mediocre teams so far, But then you've got a team. What were you just saying? The Clippers or whatever
are 1-5.
They're 1-5
or 1-4. Excuse me.
So it's just this whole situation where it all balances out in the end, and I think that it will continue to be fascinating to watch when the Jazz rest Mike Conley, whether it's on the front half or the back half of back-to-backs.
Yep.
And what kind of dynamic that plays. And I just think that this team, I think right now today, this team is capable of getting to the NBA Finals, but the health is going to be the singular thing.
Not this particular Jazz team. They will need to make a move at the deadline. They will need to make a significant move at the deadline. And it'll be interesting to see who's in and who's out. Because for instance, if Boston winds up trading either Jaylen Brown.
If you had Jaylen Brown in this team,
oh
my God,
that's what you're missing, a dynamic wing player.
Yeah.
You're missing in the bogey spot. You're missing a dynamic wing player.
Yeah.
That's really what you're missing on this team. So, the injured one just showed up in the room. But you know what? I think it'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline because there's going to be a lot of teams out west that are going to move guys. And I'm curious to see, what does Brooklyn do? Because Brooklyn is a team.
Brooklyn's just going to hang out. They're going to wait.
Well, they're getting better and better and better performances out of James Harden now.
Yeah.
You're starting to see him being able to move, and he talked about the fact that he wasn't real comfortable moving.
Yes.
So we'll see. A couple more comments in here because then we got to get to some non-sports stuff. Man, the bots are out in force today.
Why?
I don't know. And
Why?
I've got most of them. I've got like 10 bots commenting today.
Vexes me.
And I've got most of them reported and banned, but
Terribly vexed.
it is incredibly it is what it is. Anyway, let's talk about trick or treating.
Okay.
We live in Daybreak.
Right.
And so it's just you get used to in Daybreak. You get used to when there's like the Daybreak yard sale.
Yeah.
Everybody and their brother from pretty much all over the valley comes to Daybreak
Yeah.
for the yard sale. Well, this is our first Daybreak Halloween.
Uh-huh.
Now, Saturday night, we had hundreds of kids. It was packed. It was awesome. Mrs. Monty loved it. She decorated. It was amazing. We gave out full candy bars. The kids loved them.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, oh, you got to go down to their house. They're giving out full candy bars. Like kids were knocking on the door, asking for candy bars. Like it was awesome. It was so much fun.
Right.
And then last night happened, and it was all of the non-South Jordan, non-Daybreak people.
You're so fucked.
Like there were literal panel vans of people driving up, and 10 kids get out of a van. And then they drive away in another one. And the other thing that was really weird last night, parents driving around the neighborhood following their kids. Can you not get out and walk with your kids and trick or treat?
Nope.
Why are you driving following your kids?
I don't know, dude. I think it's one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen. Aren't you supposed to walk with your kids while they trick or treat?
You should.
Isn't that a thing?
You should. I would think you should. I mean, you know. James Knight says you read Zero's jazz comments. Not cool. I'm out. Okay.
Okay, cool, dude.
See you later.
See you later.
You know, it's just one of those things where you cannot. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just weird to me that you're so willing to just drive behind your kids. Like, I don't even know what you do about that.
Yeah, and I also thought it was like when Daybreak gets busy, the streets get really small.
Yes.
And
yes.
So to me, I'm like, damn, like there's so many people here. Like whether and this happens with the garage sale stuff and freaking Halloween apparently. And by the way, how many people did you think how many trick-or-treaters did you think would be out on Sunday?
I didn't think it would be hundreds. And I felt like it was probably 50% of what we got on Saturday night. And I feel like it was probably hundreds. I think there were thousands of kids on the streets at Daybreak Saturday night.
Yeah.
Sunday, I think there were hundreds of kids on the streets because we went and drove around and looked at the Stranger Things house. We went and drove around and, looked at the pirate ship house. And by the way, how extra are you if you're doing a pirate ship house? Like,
I think you're festive as F.
I mean, you know how much money it takes to do stuff like the Stranger Things house? And
well, they live in Daybreak. I'm sure they're fine.
And they live in $1 million houses in Daybreak.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're fine.
But I don't know. I'm surprised that parents weren't like chaperoning their kids.
Yeah, it's weird.
And the other thing that I thought was shocking is that like these kids with swords, like they're dressed up in a costume that requires a lightsaber, let's say.
Okay, so Star Wars.
Sure. They're running up to the door and slamming the door with their lightsaber and then like hitting the Ring doorbell with their lightsaber.
Like 4 times.
Like, what are you doing, man? Like, that's
being
where
a kid.
That's why I want to say, like, where is your parent to say, hey, we don't do that. Knock on the door, little Jimmy. Hit the doorbell button with your finger.
Yeah.
And then, like, this kid last night tries to take the entire box of candy out of my hand.
I had a couple of those.
Like, what are you?
The whole box.
We should get Mrs. Monty a microphone. Like, we really should. I don't understand. Like, what are we doing where you're let your kid? Oh wait, she has a microphone. Like where you're letting your kid take the entire box of candy out of somebody's hand.
I had several of those. Like they just go to grab the whole thing. I'm like, whoa, hey, no, just. Or, if I told a kid, go ahead and take a couple, that's fine. But I had some kids who were just like, they were like
handful.
the claw.
Yes.
Then the claw went down and grabbed the whole thing. And I'm like, hey, whoa.
Yeah. You know what? Like, Jeremy Bolton says, I guess I shouldn't say anything about what you should do as a parent. My wife and I pawned out our kids off to cousins so we could go to the BYU game. Smart move. Smart move. Lou Edwards says the streets are narrow regardless. Yeah, the streets in Daybreak are not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
well,
narrow
not-
already.
Yeah,
and
they're
then
not
you
the
clog
widest
it up
streets.
with 8,000 cars following their kids.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
bro, get out
Like,
and
get
walk.
the hell out of here.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. There's
I had fun on Saturday. I felt like Saturday was fun. I felt it was a lot more foot traffic, a lot more probably neighborhood kids.
Classic trick-or-treating.
And then Sunday,
Yeah.
I mean, there was like a land grab. Kids would see, like someone would come to the door. I'd be giving them candy, and they would shout to their relatives who were across the street, and they would literally come running at you. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I don't know, dude. That's weird.
There are several people wanting to know if you got the challenge flags yet.
Oh,
She did. They're upstairs, but we're going to talk. She's injured. Mrs. Monty's injured. We'll talk about that.
She's on the IL right now.
Well, you should lift. Anyway, I just hope that there
Might have been the lifting that did that.
Anyway,
but
there should be rules and decorum. Like,
there are rules. They were broken.
next year, I'm not giving out candy on a second day. Like, I'm not doing it. It is one day, and I don't know. I don't mind that people come here like from outside of Daybreak and South Jordan, but I don't like it. I don't love it. Like,
I don't like it when they're following their kids. When they drive up in a panel van and dump. I mean, people literally were just dumping people out of cars.
It was crazy. This panel van drove up in front of our house, and like a whole football team got out. And it's like, damn, bro, nice job with the power sperm, but not in front of my house. Like, what? Like, how many kids can you fit into a panel van?
You know.
What, they don't have trick or treating in Sugar House? Anyway. So it was fun. And then there's the injury. Well, let's talk about something she likes. So Mrs. Monty drug us to Dune on Friday night.
Right.
She didn't really drag us. I actually wanted to see it. Dune is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Is Dune everything you thought it would be?
Yeah, I can't wait for the next one. That's what's going to kill me. I might have to wait for part 2 for like 3 years, I'm sure.
Very clearly, this is a trilogy.
Yes.
At the minimum. But I thought, number one, the acting was really good.
Great cast.
I thought the cast was really good.
Yeah.
I thought the score was really good. The music was perfect.
Hans Zimmer, my favorite.
Stud.
Yeah,
dude.
actually made it go.
Add it to the stack of epic Hans Zimmer albums.
Inception.
Inception, Batman.
Yep.
So many good ones.
Spencer Morgan says, if only YouTube was half as aggressive of filtering bots as they are with Trumpsters. Seriously. I think Dune is fantastic.
Yeah.
It was really
Good.
And I don't remember it much from my days as a kid, like when Sting was in it, and Sting was a singer and artist.
Yeah, he was a musician.
Yeah, he's not the pro wrestler.
Right.
Anyway,
okay.
the point is, when Sting was in it as a kid, like I remember it. I don't remember loving it the way I love this movie. This movie was action-packed. This movie was well-written.
Visually, it was awesome.
It was, it was awesome. It wasn't always like telegraphed. There were some parts that were telegraphed, but it wasn't always telegraphed. I just thought it was really good. The plot was good. Like, you can understand why it will go on. It did have a very Star Wars feel to it.
Yes.
It did have a very Star Wars feel to it, which I think obviously you're trying to appeal to a younger audience with this movie.
I loved it. I mean, I thought they crushed it. I mean, I agree the Star Wars vibe was kind of there, but at the same time, it was also different. I don't. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah,
It's phenomenal.
By the way, Mrs. Monty, Boyd Lake says 2 years, October 2023, for Dune 2. Are you going to make it over? Are you going to make it over there?
Bro, she's all right. Let's go. Let's talk
Okay,
about it.
so
go into it.
Mrs. Monty and I went to the gym on Saturday because Jake was trying to get laid.
No,
I mean, he
actually,
had
I
a.
was just
Oh
out
wait, that's
driving,
right. He was out he went to a car
Anyway.
meet. So Jake
I'm
decided.
gonna do that.
Yeah, Jake decided he didn't want to work out Saturday.
I need the flags. Dang it.
Yeah, you do. Jake decided he wasn't going to work out Saturday, so it was me and Mrs. Monty. So it was leg day Saturday, and we did leg press.
Mhm.
Well, I did leg press. Mrs. Monty did leg press and popped a rib.
Okay, so how did this happen? We need details.
So
we need to explain how
apparently
this works.
it's not entirely uncommon.
It's not uncommon.
Because the leg press in the position that you're in and with the weight coming down,
Right.
you can overly compress your ribs.
Okay.
And then they pop and it's like a sniper hits you. And yeah. And that's
Okay.
it.
So that's what happened.
So
Yeah.
she was 2 plates. She was 225.
Okay.
Okay, and she was
Which is really like 250 with the sled.
yeah. So let's call it 250. But for legs, that's not heavy at all.
That's really not.
And she was dominating the weight, like just
Did
crushing
you think
it.
you were dominating the weight?
I felt pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I could do it, but man, as soon as it just
So it just went too far. It just
No, I think she just probably, there was probably a technique issue or just something, flexibility issue or whatever, and she went to push the weight up. It was down on her.
Yeah.
She went to push the weight up, and she got hit by a sniper. She was like, "Oh!"
yeah.
Like immediately, you knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
So and
So
Yeah, I'm
okay,
living with
let's
it.
talk about the yeah. So talk
so it
through
wasn't
that.
really an injury at that point. She just felt like a pull on her oblique,
It
which I'm
was-
glad it's a rib, not an
It was
oblique.
definitely like it was definitely the same like sniper. You're like, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But we
know,
continued working out,
we
right?
did
Like
continue working out. It was still tender, but not nearly.
we were doing like back extensions
Okay.
and hamstrings, like hamstring stretch.
So
like
living with this though. Okay, wait. So how long is it supposed to last? How long? What's the healing period here? I mean, we talking like a long time, or what's the?
I've seen all kinds of
it's a
stuff.
six.
on,
Ribs
yeah.
are a 6-week injury. So this is probably 2 full weeks of, and this is if you and I encourage you to do this. This is you need to go see a doctor and you need to get an anti-inflammatory.
I'm
Yeah.
going.
It's really important you get an anti-inflammatory on this.
I was very thankful. I really like the My Chart thing because I just
My chart's phenomenal.
laying in bed, I was able to open it up, make an appointment for today with my regular doctor, and
Yeah.
Good
I'm
to go.
telling you, if you don't use U of U Health, with all due respect to the others, U of U Health is spectacular. The MyChart app, the availability of service.
It's excellent.
Yeah. So what are you thinking that you've injured? What do you think you did? I think you probably just have a cartilage or a
yeah,
rib tissue issue thing.
yeah. I don't think it's broken. I think it's just
No.
probably the cartilage. I mean, I really hope it's not an oblique tear because that stuff will put you out for a
No,
couple of
you're
months.
not.
But I don't think that's
no.
what it is.
It's where it is. It's a rib thing. It's not an oblique thing,
yeah.
which is good.
Okay.
So you're going to wind up getting an X-ray, and you're going to wind up getting some anti-inflammatories, which is good. Greg Hawkins says sound like side stitches. Yeah. Just don't go. Boyd Lake says just don't give up being a dual threat with those ribs. It's a Jaron Hall pass. It's a BYU blast right there.
Well played.
Using a lightsaber to ring the doorbell is safer from COVID spread. Stop.
Beating on my Ring doorbell was
With
not
a
necessary.
lightsaber is not.
The coronavirus.
No. Tanner Plummer says, Jake, Monty, random question. Do you guys like Star Wars?
I do. I enjoy Star Wars a lot.
Yeah. Mrs. Monty, you're a huge Star Wars fan, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Star Wars.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars all day.
See, I love Star Trek, but it just doesn't have the same like action appeal
Yeah.
as Star Wars
The
does.
new Star Treks have been fun, but I like the
Eh.
new Star Wars overall.
What's the father's name in Dune? The actor who plays the
I cannot think, but he was in Star Wars.
can't remember
He
his
was
name.
also in Star
His
Wars.
name is Braxton.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you. Jim Brown says the Star Wars vibe is there because George Lucas used Dune to base Star Wars on. Is that right?
Oscar Isaac.
Is that his name?
That's
Oscar
his
name.
Isaac?
Yeah,
he's
that's
a
his
very
name.
good actor.
Star Wars came out before Dune.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's fantastic. That's all I can say is that it's fantastic. It really, Dune is, if you haven't seen Dune, and by the way, I know we got to run here pretty quick, but can I just tell you how nice it is to be back in a movie theater?
That was fun.
And the Megaplex does a great job. Especially in their VIP theaters, you have so much space between you and any other human. Like it was their prices are outrageous for food, but we don't eat there very often. But yeah, I mean, it's really nice to be back in the theater.
Yeah.
And I hope that we start getting, a regular release of mega movies because this is the second
Dune
one.
is crushing it. I mean,
Dune is dominating.
Is lighting it
But
up.
we saw No Time to Die, James Bond,
Awesome
which
movie.
was awesome.
At the Megaplex again.
Dune was exceptional. I thought it was really, really good. So Dune was written in 1965, Boyd Lake says.
Okay.
Greg Hawkins says, love the premium seating at Megaplex. The chairs at the Megaplex.
Fire.
Now, this is probably way TMI, but I feel like I've lost inches, so the chair at the movie theater is more comfortable.
Probably.
Like it is more like
Those ones in the luxury VIP though, they'll tilt you back, and you better really
Oh, you
like
better
the
be
movie because
careful.
if not, you sleeping.
yeah, the leg extension with the chair. So how much did you sleep during Dune?
I didn't. I loved it. I was that into
Okay,
it.
good. By the way, Brylark
good-
says Dune book was out in 65. Star Wars came out in 77.
And good call. I didn't realize that the book came out before
Yeah,
Star Wars.
good
So
call.
good call on that.
We went clothes shopping this weekend because we're renewing our vows in Maui in 23 days. I'm not counting down or anything. We're renewing our vows. So we went clothes shopping, and it was actually nice to like fit into clothes that are much smaller than I have been wearing.
Yeah, I got to go get my little linen outfit, apparently.
Yeah, and don't forget your Jesus Walk sandals.
Yeah.
That's a big boy reference. But yeah, it was nice to like go clothes shopping, and we had a great weekend until Mrs. Monty pussed out and got hurt. But other than that, it was,
Just so you can go to
the
Pound
funny
Town.
thing is, after she got injured, we walked all over Park City. We went up to Park City. We went we did all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's always the day after where it kicks your ass.
Yeah. How did you sleep with the bad ribs last night?
All right. I mean, I just didn't move much.
Yeah.
Because when you move, you're like,
honestly, Jake looks like he's lost some weight too, Greg Hawkins says. Is what it is. I bet Alex Caruso designed the luxury VIP seating at the Megaplex. Jeremy Bolton just won't get off of Alex Caruso. And by the way, I'm not saying, just saying he played a big role in beating the Jazz the other night. Just saying, but not saying. Why did they filter that comment? Somebody asked what you benched, Jake. Why does that come up every time we talk about losing weight?
By the way, just saying, it's on his Twitter feed. No creatine this weekend for all you steroid haters. 225 10 times.
Oh,
Suck
and by the way, 105-pound dumbbells.
Yeah.
Yeah, no creatine this weekend either. I'm back on the juice today.
Yeah, me too.
There are people who actually believe creatine is steroids.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
It's not steroids.
It's not steroids.
No.
Anyway, I guess that's it. Anything else to add? A week from now, our snowboarding trip will be over.
Dude, you're being such an ass about that. Why do you have to keep saying that?
Don't forget, we're off Thursday and Friday because we're going to Mammoth. Sorry for getting salty, but honestly, it's 1 a.m. here in the Jazz. I love the Jazz interaction.
oh.
He's in Australia. Well, Joe Ingles played a career high minutes on Saturday night, and they lost. Patty Mills sucks. What do you want me to say?
Ouch.
Ouch. No, I'm kidding. Joe did play a season high in minutes.
Go ahead and play the music on that.
So he was seriously upset that we didn't.
Oh.
The Jazz are good. There's not much to talk about. What's there to talk about? All right.
Yeah, good talk.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Awesome weekend on the audio podcast. Just say to Alexa, "Hey Alexa, play the Monty Show podcast."
Okay.
And she'll do it. Or just search The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show. While you're here, give us a thumbs up and say goodbye, Mrs. Monty's Ribs.
Goodbye, Mrs. Monty's Ribs.